So you want to grow your business and you have to do sales. How do you get yourself motivated? How do you structure your day? This is Laura Casey with 50 and starting a business. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my day and how I structure it. Um, I'll have a more in-depth video about how to do sales, but this is what I'll tell you is there really isn't a job where you don't do sales. So, for example, I was at the dentist the other day. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a tooth that's dark down here. When I was 12, my brother and I were play fighting, and his head was underneath mine, and he moved it up, and I bit down, and I actually knocked the tooth out, which the dentist put back in. Fast forward to when I was in college, I guess the tooth completely died, and so now it's fake. And somehow it discolored, which is whatever. And starting these videos is starting to really bother me because I don't normally look in the mirror a whole lot. I, brush my teeth and do my hair first thing in the morning. And then, what I look like is what I look like. I don't place a high value, as you can see on my appearance. I'm not a Kardashian. And I don't hang out with people who are. So we are all kind of normal 50-year-old people. Anyway, but it's starting to bother me. So I went to the dentist for my regular cleaning and I said, hey, is there like anything you can do about this tooth? And he goes, oh yeah. And he tells me all these wonderful things and he'll tell me how much better it'll make me feel. And with doing these videos, like I won't look at it and you'll be so surprised at how good you feel. And I walked out of there and I'm like, yes, I'm going to schedule this after the holidays because I know it's going to be painful. I don't like pain. And I know from the last time when they tried to fix, or they did fix it, wrong in my opinion. Not the same dentist, a totally different dentist. So I love my current dentist. But they have to take it out and they put like a post in and they put a fake tooth in, which you have to worry about eating because a fake tooth might fall out. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, you get the real one back. So I figured I'll do that after the holidays. But I walked out of there and I just thought, God, what a great salesman. Like he made me feel like so good. Like how good am I going to feel with this new tooth? So there really aren't a lot of businesses where you're not doing sales. I mean, even if you're doing IT, you have to sell your product or your abilities to your boss or to your clients or what have you. And I think I didn't realize that earlier in my career when I was doing equity research. I didn't think that I was in sales. There were sales and traders that did sales, but no, I was in sales because I had to sell my ideas and my way of presenting my ideas to my clients that were asset management firms and hedge funds and to traders, right? So if you're just sitting there saying like, well, I have the right answer because of this or that, you realize that you're probably not doing a good job selling. It doesn't, I've learned, sadly, a bit too late in my life, but I did learn that you can be right, but present your idea in such a way that it's off-putting and it makes you wrong. So, I say that to my husband when we argue, like, okay, well, you're right, but you're coming at me and attacking me and making me feel bad about myself. I'm not about to agree with you. I'm going to hold firm on my side. But if you can show me that you're right and talk to me in such a way that makes me feel good about the fact that you're right and that I'm wrong. Nobody likes to be wrong. Like, then there's no argument, right? Then it's a conversation. Anyway, so my day, since I've just covered that all businesses basically are involved in sales, I take care of my clients and account reviews and everything in the morning. And then in the afternoon is when I try to dedicate 4.5 hours to sales, from 1 o'clock to 4:30 to sales. And by that, it's not necessarily that I'm picking up a phone and talking to a client. I'm sorry, that wouldn't be sales. Well, it would be sales if they're still a client because you want to keep them as a client. But I don't necessarily mean that I'm picking up a phone or meeting with a prospect to sell. I might be doing research. So when I call prospects and clients. Okay, we'll just say prospects and clients is one, that I have more knowledge or current knowledge that I can then discuss with them. But I will tell you, I am in the earlier stages of growing up my business. So I do spend probably, 2 hours actively trying to reach out to prospects. So whether that is emails or letters, phone calls, I prefer phone calls. I don't get a lot of people answering my phone calls, but when I do, I have wonderful conversations. And I had a really nice conversation with a gentleman named Eric last week, and he and I just discussed selling, and he discussed, he gave me his input. He is a hedge fund manager of what he thinks would be successful for me and what things that I could do to become successful. And he gave me some anecdotes, and some I agreed with, and some I think don't fit my personality or my skill sets. But they're wonderful conversations. And I actually remember his entire name, and I know that he has a grandson named Jack. And I really enjoy that, and I think that's part of why my selling tends to work, is that I love talking to these people and meeting them. But for you, whatever your job is, you need to dedicate. I dedicate 4.5 hours because I can, and partly because I'm willing to wake up early in the morning and do everything I need to do for my current clients, that I can dedicate a lot of time to prospecting. And having said that, I don't want to grow too fast, but I want to grow intelligently. So in my business, it's much better off for me to get a client with $5 million in assets than it is for me to get a client with $100,000 in assets. I can grow faster. It takes the same amount of energy and time to service a client with 5 million as it does 100,000, because you have to develop a portfolio and allocate a portfolio and invest in securities that meets their goals, whether it's 100,000 or 5 million. And a lot of times the people that are on the earlier stages of growing their wealth are more nervous, need a little bit more hand-holding, which is completely fine and I'm willing to do. But my preference would be to find, and to have the clients that have $5 million in assets. It's different for everybody. I definitely I have one client who's a really good friend who has less than 100,000. So I don't have a hard, fast rule, but in general, I would rather do the homework up front and do the selling. It makes it easier in the long run for me to grow my business. But I want you to have that frame of mind of whatever company you're building, you need customers. Whether it's you're doing an online social thing and you want clicks and followers, that's that whole CEO thing I don't know how to do yet, that you need to follow it. How do I get those followers? Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Feel free to reach out for questions or any advice. I'm still learning. I love advice. And I hope you guys all have a nice day, and happy Saturday. Bye-bye.